Hello and welcome to Time to Talk. In this episode, we continue our discussion of the Emotional Sobriety letter. Links to the other 3 episodes and the letter itself are in the description and comments below. If this topic speaks to you, consider liking and subscribing and even sharing it with someone who you believe could benefit from it. If there's anything you'd like to add or you have ideas for future episodes, please leave a comment. We would love to hear from you.
I've recently come to believe that this can be achieved. I believe so because I begin to see many benighted ones, folks like you and me, commencing to get results. Last autumn, depression, having no really rational cause at all, almost took me to the cleaners. I began to be scared that I was in for another long, chronic spell. Considering the grief I've had with depression, it wasn't a bright prospect. Simply saying, I see it happening. I have that experience. I can see in someone else that they've got what I want. What do you got to be so happy about? What are you laughing about? I remember that. You're like, I want that. So instead of being angry at that guy and fighting him, which is what I would have normally done, I happened to be desperate enough in that moment to walk towards him instead of shove him away. Like, all right, I can see that you have what I want. You said the right things that make me believe you understand where I'm at. So what did you do to get that? How did you get that twinkle in your eye? How'd you get that skip in your step? How'd you do it? And it took a while. Still taking a while. Longer than I think it should. Because I want everything and I want it right now.
Malkovich. It's a mirror effect.
Yeah,
I just forget. I got a quick forgetter. I forget to pull up the mirror when I feel like this. I'm always like, what is going on out here that's not right? I got to maneuver something. It's me. Something in me.
I like that you brought up mirror effect just then because I was looking at that guy and I could see his light. I could see his twinkle. How could I recognize that he had a twinkle? It's because I have the twinkle. I just had covered it up. But I saw something that I recognized maybe from early childhood. I saw something in that guy that I recognized, but I didn't know what I was looking at. And I recognized it so much, and I was just desperate enough to basically find out where you're going to be. Where are you going to be next? What are you doing next? I want to do that. How are you achieving this? And he was pretty standoffish at first. He's like, no. You're not going to find me tonight. You can go there tonight. You go over there and talk to those people. So, well, where are you going to be tomorrow? Well, I'll be over here tomorrow. I'll be at the top of this hill by this fountain, hanging out with some people. If you want to, you can come there. And I did. Because I was just desperate enough to do something that I had previously been unwilling to do. And that was listen to anyone.
I want to tap into something that just occurred to me about forgiving ourselves.
Okay.
Not forgiving ourselves is bitching about this universe's or God's handiwork. Because you were just desperate enough. You keep saying that I was just desperate enough. I was just desperate enough. So everything that led to that is part of the process.
Yes. It's the slingshot effect.
Being grateful for the process instead of still like...
Yeah.
Part of that in the promises, not regret the past.
Yeah. Nor wish to shut the door on it.
Nor wish to shut the door on it. But man, when you realize, and I still shut the door on it, I get it, but there are times it just hits me. Like, I would go through every bit of that again to be right where I am today. It's worth it.
I think about that with my daughter. I'm trying to protect her, insulate her from all the poor decisions that I made. But then there's another side of that coin, is what am I keeping her from? Do I want her to feel the joy and peace and calmness and love that I enjoy today? Do I want her to feel that, or do I want to prevent her from feeling that? I don't know what the answers are. I don't know what causes that, what creates it. I just know I'm experiencing it. And it's a direct result of, my experience is a direct result of the path that I've traveled, which includes those desperate depths. Desperate depths. I'm saying, my lips won't move correctly, which includes those desperate depths.
Yes.
It's a tongue twister. And I often wonder, Am I going to be able to let her suffer so that she can learn? That's hard.
The life history, the biography of the Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, I don't know what it is. It was interesting because his path was of trying to be protected, and his parents, he was a prince. It's actually a lot like St. Francis in a different time. Was very protected and coddled by the parents and things like that, thinking that they were trying to help save him from the suffering, And that's when I first started thinking about that. That was an interesting time frame, too, coming into my aware parenting phase, but realizing that also. I just knew there were lots of things that were no-goes for me that I didn't want to do anymore as a parent.
Yeah.
And that's like coming out of that hole,
Yeah.
so progress is progress. But yeah, I understand trying to protect them from that.
I love that you brought up Francis, because it says in the very next paragraph, I kept asking myself, why can't the 12 steps work to relieve depression? By the hour, I stared at the St. Francis prayer. It's better to comfort than to be comforted. Here was the formula, all right, but why didn't it work? I remember that space. Like, why won't any of this crap work? Somebody who was in a recent episode said it very well, and it helped me a great deal when he said, in a closing thought, basically, I come to find out that I've had love wrong my entire life. I thought it was what I can get from you. Turns out, it's love is what I can give to you. And it's better to be comforted than to be comforted is the opposite of everything I've known. It's better to give than to receive. How can I? I'm struggling with the description here. It's better to comfort than to be comforted. How can I be comforted if I don't understand what comfort is?
I don't know. For me, it's specifically, he didn't quote the whole thing. He quoted the comfort and the comforted.
Mm-hmm.
In depression, feeling uncomfortable, not okay. And for me, I can either wallow in that. I can go quick into a pity party. Like, that's a comfort zone for me, pity party.
Mm-hmm.
And the boo-hoos and the why-nots, I got to watch for being hard on myself. Like, I must be doing something wrong. I ain't feeling great. What am I doing wrong? What can I do better? And go into being harsh on myself and trying to manage and readjust things. I think there's purpose in the discomfort, just like there was purpose in my pain all the way through this. And in the midst of reaching out when you're not feeling the best and maybe not feeling like doing it, just to comfort or be there or do something for someone else, is the lesson in itself. Instead of just when it feels good, or, oh, I'll give back just when I have, excess. I think there's a reason why it's just specifically that line. Because depression is discomfort, ill at ease, like wondering things are better than they ever have been in my life. Why am I not jumping for joy, shouting it from the rooftops type stuff? And I think, interesting, I don't want to get into that Buddhist theology because I don't understand it all, but that root of suffering, I get that, or parts of it, how I understand it for myself. Without that discomfort, we're not pushed beyond where we would be because that's just our human nature. Like, this feeling good, great. So I either want to hold on to that good feeling and disappointed when it's not constant, like everything fluctuates, or I'm feeling something I want to push it away.
Mm.
And that's where the suffering comes from. Trying to protect and hold on to something that feels good, scared it might go away, or push away something I don't like. So when I'm in the midst of not reaching out to someone else as a life preserver instead of trying to comfort myself first, then reach out.
I do like that he says, here was the formula, all right, but why didn't it work? That led me to the understanding that, there's been jokes. Why don't kids come with instruction manuals? Why doesn't life come with an instruction manual? Well, it does. For me, it does. And it's that poem written by Francis. Call it what you want. Poem, prayer, book, story. It's the instruction book. It tells me essentially everything that I've done and what to do instead. It's better to comfort than to be comforted. Well, I was always seeking comfort in whatever substance, possession, persons. I was always seeking comfort for myself. The realization has come, and it's very much a practice, that when I help others, when I comfort others, I receive comfort as a direct result of giving it. I'm getting what I'm giving. If I desire love, then I need to learn how to love. And what is love anyways? It's better to give than to receive. It's what are you even talking about? Well, because I automatically go to material goods. And that's the last thing on the list. Interesting. You want to read the next one?
Suddenly I realized what the matter was. My basic flaw had always been dependence, almost absolute dependence on people or circumstances to supply me with prestige, security, and the like. Failing to get these things according to my perfectionist dreams and specifications, I had fought for them. And when defeat came, so did my depression. I relate that to the wanting to acquire and fight for things that I thought made me feel good, and when they did, hold on to them or push away things that I didn't like or didn't think were good for me or bad.
Mm-hmm. I can relate to it. The dependence on, for me, there was a lot of material goods. I defined myself by the quality of material items, the quantity. Not even the quality, it was the quantity. It was more important to me than the quality, I think.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
Does that boil down to people? You say
Well, of
material
course.
goods, because material goods boil down to other things.
I may have viewed people as material goods.
I mean what people thought.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it was show cards. It was my facade. I had all my show cards. If I looked like a highfalutin, then that's what I was. I was what the illusion I was creating said I was.
And why did you want that illusion?
Because I felt awful. I felt...
What were you wanting with that illusion?
I wanted others to see me as more than I felt. I was trying to achieve relief. I was trying to achieve happiness through what others thought of me.
I boiled that down for myself to social standards, that acceptance.
Yeah. Other people have to like me so that I can like myself. That, I think, is what I'm getting at. And that's just not the truth. I find that people who are of like minds, people who I cherish, they show up when if I'm organic, if I'm just seeking the organics, people who appreciate that seem to be attracted to it, and they want to be around it. And my ego will get in there, and it does often. However, I have a higher power of my own understanding. That's the acceptance I seek. So it changed from people, places, and things to something somewhere doing something that I can't do for myself, a power greater than myself. Whatever I choose to call that and how I understand it is personal to me. Now that I'm not seeking your approval, if we're in line, then we're in line. If it disturbs you, it disturbs you. That's not going to change how I feel about my higher power. That's the constant. And everything is as a result of that constant. I was sitting with a guy not too long ago, and he's like, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I have faith." And he goes, he was visibly disgusted. He rolled his eyes, and I'm like, "That's very," and I was just thinking, "That's very visible what you're doing." And I said, "I have faith that I'll find a place to live, and I have faith that I'll find a job." And guess what? I did both of those things. But it was that faith in a power greater than myself, something somewhere doing something that I can't do. I had faith that the right things would happen.
It'll all turn out for the good.
I also
But you'll feel good about how it turned out.
I also have faith that distractions will show up. I have faith that when I'm on the path, distractions will show up to take me off of the path. Because it happens all the time. I have faith that'll happen too. Just because I have a higher power does not mean that there is not a lower power that resides inside me. Call that my ego, call it my demons, call it whatever you want to call it. Whatever the word that makes sense to you is, that still exists. But as I'm traveling this path, I'm learning that the results from the higher power are much better. They take longer to get. I don't always understand them, but they feel so much better.
You say it take longer to get. I took 25 years to get some real bad results.
Yeah.
On the other end of the stick, this is like warp speed sometimes compared to...
Perception. Yeah, perception. But I want it all, and I want it right now.
Well, yeah.
Because I'm very sensitive to timelines, and very selfish and self-centered. And that's my lower self. I want it all, and I want it now. Have faith. The right things will transpire. How much evidence do I need? It's already happened. It's already
happening.
It's happened. It's happening. It will happen. All of these things in sequence are going exactly as they should. And it's when I start holding on so tight that I strangle them out. I'm focusing on myself. When I hang on to all this stuff so tight, I'm thinking of myself only, and I'm losing connection with that feeling of wonderfulness. And so when I let go, and I'm not holding on to it so tight, I'm now open to the wonderfulness, that good, easy feeling, the calmness, the peace. I'm open to it, and so it can come back in. It's because I'm not focused on strangle holding whatever it is that I desire. The outcomes that are in the future, which are my imagination. It's my experience. How much evidence do I need? There wasn't a chance of making the outgoing love of St. Francis a workable and joyous way of life until these fatal and almost absolute dependencies were cut away. Talking about the almost absolute dependence on people or circumstances to supply me with prestige, security, and the like. So it's talking about people and circumstances. That these... How could I make this formula work? Right? So now he's talking about the outgoing love. So he was talking on the previous page about comfort, ... comfort. And now he's bringing up love. I like that. I think he's encompassing more than just that one line. But the attraction, right? So Bill, being very clever, he's like, I'm going to get you with comfort. And then we're going to take you to love. What could be next? He's lulling us into it.
You think he's doing it on purpose or just going with the flow he's in?
My dude Bill was a salesman. He's selling it. He's digesting what he has learned and relating it in a palatable, digestible way.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at sales in any direction you want. He's selling an idea. He wants other people to...
Do you always know you're doing it?
No.
Do you think he was always knowing he was doing it?
No.
Just saying.
He had a certain skill set, which worked well for him.
Yeah.
I can relate to that. And why not use these skills, which I have previously used for nefarious purposes, why not take them and use them for good for others?
Thank you so much for joining us. We really enjoy having you here. If you got something from this, please consider liking and subscribing and sharing it with someone that you feel could benefit from it. If you have anything to add or have ideas for future episodes, feel free to comment below. We would love to hear from you.
Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry. Be happy. In every life we have some trouble. When you worry, you make it double. Don't worry. Be happy.
Will frown and that will bring everybody down.